This regular meeting of the Judson Board of Trustees is hereby called to order at 7 p.m. We are very pleased that you've taken time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operations of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with the state government code on open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guest, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflects these proceedings, please silence your mobile devices and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I may have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, we extend to each of you a sincere welcome from the entire school board. Thank you for your interest in Judson ISD. We have established a quorum, and I will call roll, and as I call roll, please go ahead and mark yourself present. Ms. Eaton.
Present.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Present.
Ms. Pichelle.
Present.
Mr. Macias.
Present and welcome.
Ms. Canoyer.
Present. Good evening.
Mr. LaFoyle.
Present, and thank you for coming.
And I am Dr. Melinda Salinas. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And to my left, we have our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jeanette Ball.
Present.
Do we have any citizens? Oh, I'm sorry. We will stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have any citizens to be heard? Okay. We'll move on to item 4, consideration of consent items. Please let me know if you'd like an item pulled. 4A, consider and take action regarding approving minutes from the special board meetings held on June 19th, June 25th, July 16th, and the regular meeting held on June 21st, 2018. 4B, consider and take action regarding approving monthly financial information as of July 31st, 2018. 4C, consider and take action regarding approving expenditures equal to or greater than $50,000. 4D, consider and take action regarding approving amendment to the budget for the 2019 fiscal year. 4E, consider and take action regarding approving the rankings of the submittals for requests for proposal 18-26, pre-K-12 grade photography and yearbook photography. 4F, consider and take action regarding approving the ranking of engineering firms for services related to the material testing phase of the construction at Veterans Memorial High School athletic fields. 4G, consider and take action regarding approving the submittals for requests for proposal 18-34 electrical, HVAC, controls, and plumbing services. 4H, consider and take action regarding approving the submittals for requests for proposal 19-01, fresh produce purchase and delivery. 4I, consider and take action to waive penalty and interest on property tax payments. 4J, consider and take action regarding approving the certified list of appraisers for the 2018-2019 school year. 4K, consider and take action regarding approving the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System, T-TESS appraisal calendar. 4L, consider and take action regarding approving the Texas Principal Evaluation and Support System, TPES, appraisal calendar. 4M, consider and take action regarding approving the optional flexible school day program, OFSDP, for Judson High School, Wagner High School, Veterans Memorial High School, and Judson Learning Academy for the 2018-2019 school year. 4N, consider and take action regarding approving College Board's College Readiness and Success Contract. 4O, consider and take action regarding approving the Bexar County Juvenile Probation Center Memorandum of Understanding. Sorry. Okay, we will move to vote on items 4A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and O. Thank you. Motion, Mr. Macias, second, Ms. Canoyer. Proceed to vote. Okay, motion's carries 7-0. We'll move on to item 4N, consider and take action regarding approving College Board's College Readiness and Success Contract. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion, Mr. Macias, second, Mr. LaFoille, and Mr. Macias.
Yes, Dr. Ball, I wanted to just, I guess, understand, this is what year? I don't know if we can ask cabinet member, but this is our second, third, fourth year of having this contract. I know we've been in process with this for a number of years, but I'm just not sure. Do we know how long we've been doing this?
I'll ask Dr. Gandu to please answer.
Yes, I can speak for the last 2 years. We have had it in our district. If you would like additional clarification, Mr. Heiner's in the audience, and I can certainly ask Mr. Heiner. Mr. Heiner, will you help me with this, please?
We began the success contract in the 2014-15 school year, so in fall 2014 was the first time we had offered the SAT school day service to our seniors. The year after that, we began continuing to offer the SAT school day, seniors in the fall, juniors in the spring time frame, and we've continued forward with that contract. The contract also encompasses the PSAT as well, which we have offered to our 10th and 11th graders for a number of years, but now it's part of the contract.
I been very impressed. I pulled this item to talk a little bit about the commitment the district has had. I just didn't know how long that commitment has been, but it clearly has been a game changer. One of the areas that I know the College Board does offer is the PSAT, where it's sort of a training, but it's not truly a prep. So I wanted to kind of get a better understanding if College Board, I know they have certified College Board trainers for SAT and so forth, but does College Board itself offer that service?
The College Board right now, the biggest effort that they have is in a partnership with Khan Academy. They partner with Khan Academy to provide SAT and PSAT preparation and practice exercises. 20 hours on Khan Academy leads to about 116 point gain in an SAT. So we, as part of the contract, as well as just part of informing our students, that's provided to us at no cost. It's available to the students at no cost as well.
Mr. Macias, if I may also add, I know that one of the areas that you have asked that we follow up is the area of making sure that we incorporate the skills that are going to be tested into our curriculum. And I'm really proud to announce that that was the work that was done during this summer with our curriculum. So we've embedded skills so that when students take the PSAT or the SAT, they're not surprised or seeing these skills for the first time. So there was a lot of intentionality in incorporating these skills in the curriculum.
The cost of the program, and just so that I'm looking at that correctly, page 39, total cost, or 139, I'm sorry for my colleagues, is $122,000. We have a $73,000 discount. Am I reading that correctly? So the cost for this next year is going to be at $122,000?
Yes, sir. That's correct. And when we the more grade levels you test, the deeper the discount. So we're providing this year, we are taking advantage of what the College Board calls the full suite of assessments, and in doing so, we get a reduced price to make those assessments available to our students.
And my last question is, we're still sitting in the 90 percentile of students taking the SAT, the juniors. Where are we on that?
I would say we're higher than that. Varies a little bit from year to year, but with our junior cohort, we're probably at 95% plus of the students are taking the SAT. The senior cohort, we've been about that. This year, we're going to offer the seniors the transactional option, so they'll have the ability to choose to take the test or not, because some of them may very well have an SAT score that they're already satisfied with. We don't want to send a new SAT score that's a few points lower to a university, those kinds of things. So,
And will it give the student the option not to take it?
yes, sir, but they took it in the junior year.
Okay.
So we did do the 100% participation by having them take it in the junior year.
So just to clarify, the students that do not take the test are those that are absent that day, but our goal is 100%. We test all students in our district.
I guess I'll look at the data myself, but just wanting to see our scores now start to improve each year as we're administering these tests. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Motion carries 7-0. Move on to item 5A, consider and take possible action regarding moving the regular board meeting from January 17th to January 24th, 2019. Do I have a motion? Motion, Mr. Macias, second, Mr. LaFoille. Discussion.
Yes, this is because of the way our Christmas break is falling. When we come back in January, that would have normally been the first Thursday, so that is why we're asking for the change of January to January 24th.
24th, oh yeah, okay. Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Motion carries 7-0. Item 5B, consider and take possible action regarding approving the continuation of the International Baccalaureate IB Diploma Program. Do I have a motion? Motion, Mr. Macias, second, Mr. LaFoille. Discussion.
Yes, at the last board meeting, we brought this up, and I asked a team of individuals to come together and to do some more research, and to make sure that this would be something that would be advantageous to our students. Our theme this year, I think everybody knows, is #ChooseJudsonISD. So we want to stay very competitive with what we offer our students and making sure that we keep with my analogy of wanting to provide a buffet for students to pick and choose some of the different things. So I asked a team to put together some data and to look at this, and Dr. Cantu was the assigned team member that took the lead on this. So I'll ask her to share information.
Good evening, board members, Madam President, and Dr. Ball, our superintendent. I'd like to share some information with you. As Dr. Ball mentioned, one of the things that the charge was, let's bring a committee together and let's revisit this. We definitely want to attract Judson ISD students to return to our communities and offer excellent programs. So we made sure we organized a committee, and we had, I would like to just recognize our committee members because I asked them to be here so that we could recognize them. Mr. Hernandez, Jesus Hernandez, principal from Judson High School. We also had Ms. Alexis McJilton, who is our IB coordinator at Judson High School. We had Mr. Thomas Heiner on the committee and myself. we met, and I know that there was some concerns in the past, and just to provide a little bit of context for the board members that were not on the board when this was happening, I know that we moved it at one point to do away with it, but we had some concerns with it. Well, we have addressed those concerns, and I would like to share those logistics with you. Tonight, I'd like to share a quick overview. I'm going to focus a few minutes on the logistics, and that encompasses staffing, professional development, the enrollment and recruitment of students, and a budget. I know that that's huge for our district. We understand the budget crisis that we're in, and so we want to make sure we address that. And then we will close by opportunity for questions and also discussion of next steps. A quick overview. I'm not going to read this for you, but you can see what the IB programs offer students, the number of subjects, the number of core areas. You can also see, in this slide, you see that the training is provided by an international organization, the IB. So it's world training in curriculum and instruction models. It also offers our students, one of the things that we continue to focus on is a rigorous curriculum. And this is so that students can go to public universities with a minimum of 24 credit hours if they pass all exams. So this is what we wanted to share with you, because some of the concerns were that we had very small numbers. Well, that has changed, and I want to give kudos to our principal at Judson High School. You have a table here with comparative data, comparing 2016, 17, and 18. And you can see that in 2016, we had 2 students with an IB diploma that was earned and 9 diploma candidates. That changed in 2017, it increased to 8, and then 18 diploma candidates. And in 18, you can see our expectation and our proposal. So we continue to increase. And one of the things that we want to say is that in the last 3 years, we have improved the numbers. This does not mean that we have only one teacher assigned to that, and I'll address it in the staffing. They have sections during the day teaching these groups of students. So one of the questions is, what does our staffing look like? I'm not going to read through each one, but these are the different courses. You will see the courses, the name of the course, and the name of the teacher. We also want to be very transparent with you. We want to identify the number of release periods, the stipends that are being paid, and we also want to explain what those duties are, because we want to be transparent. We want to let you know that the IB coordinator, we're looking at 2 release periods, but there's very specific duties that we're going to talk about as to what they need to get done during this time. We also have the CIS coordinator that has 1 release period, and so very transparent here. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, the release period is in addition to their conference period, or that's including their conference?
That is including.
So just 2 total out of 8.
My apologies. It's in addition to.
So 3 out, do we have 8 classes per day? 7?
7.
So 3 out of the 7 would be a release period.
Yes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about
Okay.
what those release periods look like. But
Thank you.
So then, one of the things that we are also very cognizant of is the fact that there's very specific professional development that needs to happen. And there are 2 options that teachers can attend professional development. One, of course, is the face-to-face. We highly recommend that our new teachers get the face-to-face because they have the opportunity to ask questions, they have the opportunity to network, and so forth. We also have online training. Our more experienced teachers have the opportunity to do this refresher or to get this option, and we've included the cost. So you can see comparing the data for this upcoming school year, the PD cost is $7,000. The PD cost reduces because they've already gone through the training. So you can see 1920 and 2021. When we talk about enrollment and recruitment, one of the things that we had looked at was making sure that we had classes where we had teachers teaching students all day and that they were comparable in class size. Well, one of the ways to address that is to increase the number of students in the IB program. So you can see the comparison data there on IB, the enrollment. It continues to increase every year. We also have the pre-IB students because we're going to include these students. Also, you've got the certificate candidates, and you can see the total number, the very last row, you see the total number of students in each grade level. They continue to increase every year. You can see the one thing that I also want to highlight that's very, very important is that this is not a Judson High School program. This is a Judson ISD program. So just like we have STEM that we recruit from all over the district, our recruitment will be to recruit from all middle schools. All 8th grade students will be recruited. The team talked about how we're going to do this, making sure that we visit the middle schools and recruit students from all middle schools because we want representation from all schools. So this is not only for Judson High School students, it's for Judson ISD students. And as you know, we already have transportation provided from one high school to another. Projected budget, and this is a huge piece because we understand our budget constraints. But if you look at the very top, you'll see the enrollment for 18-19 and so forth. You'll see the description on the far left-hand corner of what those fees are. And you can see that the 18-19 and is $22,650. What I want to clarify and make very clear is that this budget does not require asking for additional funds. This is within the constraints of using the campus budget, fundraising, and also some support from the district office. But we will not be coming back to ask for a budget allocation. We're going to work with our constraints that we have. Yes, ma'am.
Have we, or do we apply for any grants for this program?
I can tell you that there's several grants that are instructional grants, and we can definitely, I have not seen one that we can support this, but if one does come across our desk, we definitely would pursue it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Cantu, the pre-IB for 1920, 2021, 21, 22, is that for eighth graders?
No, this is the students, the enrollment is the students that we're going to recruit as they go into high school. So this fee, the number of students that you see there is high school students.
For pre-IB?
Freshmen, sophomore.
Okay,
Thank
and we
you.
don't have numbers or goals yet for how many we want to recruit?
Well, we have already registered, and as you know, we start school on Monday. However, we do have, right now, we've got, Mr. Hernandez, if you can, 50 students that we have tentatively planned. 15, thank you. 15. So because this is being brought for approval, we had not recruited at the middle schools, at all middle schools, but that's something that we've addressed, that we are definitely going to address and make sure that all middle schools are represented.
Are we gonna look at equity, or or is it gonna be an equal number, or how are we, what has the committee decided on that?
One of the things that we talked about is a similar approach that we used for the JECA, that we looked at the enrollment of our middle schools, and we looked at a percentage, and based on the number of students, then we can say at this middle school, we need these many students. So we are going to make every effort to have equitable representation.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So as far as summary, obviously, we are 2 days away from the first day of school. Communication is critical. We intend to increase our number of students. We know that 15, if we had backed up a little earlier, we could have probably increased a little more, but that's not a distraction. We will continue to increase those numbers. We are presenting a very transparent approach, and we will present updates to the board as needed. Please keep in mind that we are asking for approval. This is a 2-year commitment because students get started, especially at the junior year, and we want to finish them off in the senior year. And we request that it be reinstated. As Dr. Ball prefaced this presentation, we want to recruit our students, and we want them to stay at Judson. We believe that this is a great way, a great opportunity to compete and to have our students remain at Judson. And again, I would like to conclude by saying we are not asking for additional funding. We're asking for approval so that we can move forward with the budget that we currently have.
Dr. Cantu, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome, ma'am.
All right, so you, just for clarity's sake, no additional funding. However, because this is brought to us in a different fashion this time, there is going to be some input from the district. When will you give us the specifics on what each entity is going to be contributing to this budget?
We can certainly provide a breakdown by the different departments, and primarily it's going to be Judson High School budget. We are having some fundraising that is planned. We also have a minimal amount from the district office. Mr. Heiner is going to make this happen so that we can have a small portion to help the campus. So I can bring that back or send it to Dr. Ball and make sure that we get that out to you, that breakdown.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Mr. Macias.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Cantu, for the presentation.
You're welcome, sir.
My question has been pretty consistent in terms of the funding that we allocate to this program and then the enrollment of students into the program. It's an expensive program for the amount of students that are serviced. The question I've always had is if we should emphasize our dual credit programming and our collaboratives for opportunities for students to earn college credit, and if that is more cost-effective in terms of having this program. Because I understand the marketability of an IB program, but if you can market that our campus is strong dual credit and we have created pathways for students to earn, is it 42 hours now of college that they can earn?
Yes, sir.
That's substantial. And I want to ensure that when we're investing in college readiness for our students, that our students can transfer the largest portion of those courseworks towards a degree. And I don't know if what that looks with an IB. I understand the marketability, I really do. But that's where my concern is, in trying to understand, you take this allocation and you put it towards dual credit, if that's going to have a bigger bang for more students across the district than an IB program that we're recruiting to at Judson. That's really been my issue with it, and I don't have a clear grasp of that right now. I appreciate that the funding, there will be no increased funding from the district that is being worked through, but I keep thinking that allocation, whatever that is, and I'm looking at I guess at page 168, it's where you have the 25 students, 115. Is the cost of the program at the bottom of that?
Yes, sir, that is the total. If you look at the far left, you've got the program fees, you've got PD, the exam fees, and so forth. So it's itemized, and then you have the total at the very bottom.
And I'll just say, let's look at that $46,000 number. If we're able to recruit, well, I don't think we could get 145 students. We have 50 students right now that are ready to go.
It's 15, sir.
15, 1-5.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so let's look at the 25 students, because we're building this program up. We have a $22,650 allocation. The dual credit cost for a student taking a course, what is that right now? Do we have an idea what that is on top of your head?
I can tell you that we have different options. And so if we go with Alamo Colleges, it's going to be $100 per course for a 3-hour course per student for each course that they take. If we go with UT On-Ramps, then it's at a cost about, I'm going to say about $3,000 to train the teacher in the summer, and then it's an unlimited number of students that can be served during the school year and thereafter.
Okay, so let's look at the Alamo Colleges one. That 3,000 means we would have already had to build that capacity during the summer. So right now, if we're going forward, it's $100 for every 3 hours, more or less?
That is correct.
And I know we've had a whole discussion because we did in early college and all that kind of stuff. I could look back at my notes. But that's really where I'm kind of stuck. And I'm very empathetic to the program, but I just want to feel like, is this the best allocation of dollars? And one other thing that I'll be real candid about that I'm hearing as I'm talking through this is the Choose Judson ISD, and the fact that the IB program could attract students from even outside of the district. Naturally, I would imagine we would service students that live within our tax area. But I guess that's sort of my struggle. Anyway, I just put that out there. Thank you.
Mr. Macias, and thank you for sharing those thoughts. And I will tell you that I was here when we made the other recommendation previously, and I will tell you that the issues that we we have buckled down on them. I think that when we think about it, it's about offering a buffet for our students. There are some students that will prefer the dual credit, and that's the dual credit route. There's some that will prefer the AP route, and that's great. But this is it's just an opportunity for students. We know that our neighboring districts are not offering, so going back to the comment that you mentioned, Mr. Macias, regarding possibly looking at other students from other districts, that may be a possibility because there is nobody else out there. So this would set us apart from the neighboring districts, and IB carries the prestige of having been, that it is an international program. So I'm requesting your approval so that we can evaluate and we can bring updates to you to ensure that we are meeting the expectations that we've set forth. This is something that I am happy to provide updates as the year progresses.
Ms. Eaton?
Actually, well, how many years has this program been a part of our district?
I'm going to have to, 1986.
Since 1986? Okay, then that answers my second question. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Cantu, you mentioned that you were going to talk about the release periods and what that was going to entail, as well as the stipend duties. Whoa.
Yes, and I have it in my notes, and I failed to mention a little bit about that. Let me see. One of the things that we are looking at is making sure that we identify what those duties are so that they're very clear. I didn't have the opportunity to include everything, but let me talk a little bit about what those duties entail. The IB coordinator is going to help us coordinate student enrollment, coordinate the student counseling, monitor the program of the progress of the diploma classes. And what I mean by that is we are looking at establishing those benchmarks so that we know, did we get there, that monitoring. Also, supporting our staff with the instructional piece. There's an assessment piece that is included, so it's the internal assessment coordination, ordering the test, registering students for testing, external assessment coordination, and I can go on if you'd like for me to do that. That's the IB coordinator, and I'd like to, there's parent contacts, there's attending meetings for the IB program, there's planning and managing Saturday study sessions and study dates for students, making sure that they're at all the recruitment events for the middle schools, for when we start recruiting students. We have the CAS coordinator that had that release time, and I'll name a few, just to, so I won't bore you on the duties. We have the planning, looking at different options for the meeting with students regarding their, and I'm going to have to ask Mr. Heiner to help me with the CIS, Mr. Heiner. Creativity, activity, and service. Thank you for reminding me. And one of the things that students do in the IB program is they do community service. So there's a coordination piece there that needs to happen. That's going to be with this coordinator. Supervision of suitability of these projects, making sure that they're the right projects to volunteer. There's 3 meetings a year with every student to help the students with reflection, and then also support the recruitment efforts. So we have outlined, the committee did a great job of outlining what those duties were so that we are not wondering, or we're very clear as to what.
And is that for the release periods?
Yes, ma'am.
And what about the stipend duties?
The stipend duties are more of the after-school. These are the things that they have to do after school hours. This is what we expect during the school day, meeting with students, organizing,
Right.
and all that. So the
what-
stipend is
right.
for the above and beyond.
Right,
For
do
the-
we have, I mean,
I
example?
don't have those outlined right in front of
Okay.
me, but I can certainly bring those to you.
Okay. And then, just to be clear, so next year, we're looking at 25 students? I'm
We
sorry,
have-
this year, I know, I say next year, but it's Monday. Monday, we're looking at 25 students, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, based on the report.
And
here.
that includes the 15 that were recruited?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and with those 25 students, we have an English, Spanish, social studies, this cohort goes together for one period?
That is what Mr. Hernandez is making every effort to have them in a cohort. What we do know is that the teachers are probably going to most likely have stacked classes because we're not going to have a class where it's just 4 students or 5 students, so it will be stacked. But the campus is working diligently to make sure that the schedule is done in such a way that those classes are not very small.
And so as the number of students increase, will the number of release periods have to be increased, or is this the maximum for all 4 years?
It is my understanding that this is the maximum.
So whether we have 145 or 25, Ms. McGilton only needs 2 additional release periods.
Yes, ma'am. I think that if the coordinator, Ms. McGilton in this case, is faced with a situation where it's an overwhelming and the task cannot be done, it can be brought back, and we will make sure that we inform you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes, you can go.
Ms. Rodriguez, sorry.
I have several questions. One, related to what we were talking about with class size, is the estimate for the number of seniors and juniors kept at 20 to 25 because of class size? because I noticed that the number of students enrolled in IB, so the underclassmen, is increasing each year, but the number of expected students enrolling is staying the same. And so I was wondering why that wasn't going up with the number of pre-IB students.
These are projected, and I think we're being conservative, but our goal obviously is to continue to increase every year. Because obviously we have them as freshmen and sophomore. As they progress into juniors and seniors, we want to see them continue to increase into that.
Okay. Another question that I had, well, this is more of a comment. There are at least 3 districts I know of that are offering IB in Bexar County. So SAISD is greatly increasing their IB enrollment. It's already been offered at Burbank for quite a long time, and they're adding it to Jefferson, and they're adding pre-IB to their middle school. And SAISD is an open enrollment school district now, is my understanding, that any child in Bexar County can enroll in those programs. KIPS High School is entirely IB. Their entire junior and senior class is enrolled in IB, and IDEA is adding it to some of their campuses. So just so that we know the landscape of like, here is where it is offered. That's what I know of. There might be more. Short Cibolo has it as well? Okay.
Just a quick update.
Yeah.
Short Cibolo no longer offers it.
Okay.
So our hope is that we can attract
Yeah.
those students.
I think the other comment that I had is like regarding Mr. Macias's comment with, you know, why don't we put this money towards dual credit? I think there's a case to be made for that, but I think also dual credit is not universally recognized by universities, and IB generally is. So not all, like especially top tier universities won't, many of them won't accept dual credit courses. Because they're more like community college level rather than being truly college level classes. So those were just some of my thoughts.
Thank you for clarifying that, and you are correct. The Texas Core Complete is up to 42 hours for Texas schools, so that is a great clarification.
Ms. Bichot.
Thank you. Dr. Ball, the question is for you. So there were several things that Dr. Cantu said that she's going to bring back to us. Can she do that next month? Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Ms. Canoyer.
Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you have gathered a committee to look at addressing the concerns that caused the program to be eliminated in the first place. The type of student who goes to and participates in an IB class is not the same type of student who would take dual credit type classes. They're looking for a bigger challenge. One of the things that I have constantly held in my mind is looking at our gifted and talented students and what are we doing for those students. And while, yes, dual credit and AP are options for them, this is a different breed of kid. And if we want to make sure we're not losing them, we need to be sure that we address them. So for me, a comparison would be every kid who wants to go into the medical field does not want to be a dentist. So the career pathway for a dental is not necessarily what the nurse needs or the person who's going to be a doctor. And so if you kind of look at it that way, then IB is an option that we're providing for students who want to go above and beyond what our dual credit and AP is offering. And so I really appreciate the fact that you have looked at controlling the costs. I'm positive that should we not meet the numbers that you're thinking of, that you'll come back and talk to us about what are we going to do next. And so I'll support this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll proceed to vote. Motion carries 6-0. I mean, six, one abstention. Excuse me. Yes. We'll move on to item 5C, consider and take possible action regarding approving the personnel report and updates, including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments. We will be discussing that in closed session and then come out after closed session for that item. 6A, superintendent report, construction report.
Yes, ma'am.
If he would give us an update.
Yes, ma'am. A brief summary of the August construction report consists of Escondido. We reached substantial completion. They're preparing now. We had the certificate of occupancy, and they're filling the building now, so they'll be prepared for the students that come back on Monday. In terms of Kirby Middle School, the renovation project, they are preparing to demolish the building, number 400 building in the back, starting on Monday, the 20th. So they're going ahead and preparing the site out there for that. Kitty Hawk Middle School, they completed the installation of the electrical easement that we spoke about before. So that's done. In terms of the modernization and improvements, and that's where we're putting in the kitchens at 8 of the campuses or 7 of the campuses throughout the district. At Park Village and Woodlake, we've already had a notice to proceed for the architects to kick off the design. And in terms of Candlewood, Converse, Crestview, Eloff, Millers Point, Olympia, Pashal, and Spring Meadows, we're trying to finalize the contracts with the architects now so we can move forward with those. At Veterans Memorial High School, we had to actually split that project into two so we would have the athletic fields completed by the start of the baseball and softball period. So we're going to go ahead and start with the construction. Bartlett Cock is the contractor for that. And then we'll come back later and start with the construction of the fine arts building and academic building after we proceed with the athletic fields. And then in terms of phase 2 and phase 3 on the hailstorm, we are completing all of the 6 critical roofs that we were working on, and we've already put out for bid the phase 2 and phase 3 of the hailstorm, and we should get those bids back on the 30th of August. So we'll be bringing forth the contractor who should start work on that at the September board meeting. That's a summary. I stand ready for any questions. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know something kind of insignificant, but I want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Did the pod that needed to be repainted at Escondido get repainted?
Not yet, no, ma'am.
Oh, so school's going to start with that
Correct.
lime
Correct.
green color?
Yes, ma'am.
And they'll paint later?
Our plan is to come back and readdress that later. The plan, though, now is to get all of the furniture in that pod and prepare for the students to come in on Monday.
Is Ms. Tyson okay with that? Well, I guess she has to be. Thank you.
Dr. Fields, thank you. This format, I like it
Yes, ma'am.
a lot better, and I really appreciate it. You put a lot of work into this. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Macias.
I have about 100 questions for you, Dr. Fields. I decided no, I don't. I have one.
Yes, sir.
One question. The proposition, I asked at a meeting or two ago about how and where we are on the bond projects for the infrastructure improvements, and naturally the hailstorm kind of threw things in a little bit of a loop. I've had a couple of questions from the community about, hey, what happened to our campus? When's the work taking place? So it made me think that it might be a good opportunity at the beginning of the year to tell parents what we're doing at each of the campuses so that they know that the dollars that they voted and supported 2 years ago now are working, and that we will have the improvements done this year or whatnot. But if I'm getting questions from people in the community, they don't know what's happening, and I think it's an opportunity for us to do some public relations with our community and to let them know that we're getting the job done. Because at some point in the next 2 years, we may go back with another infrastructure or technology bond, and we want the community to know that we're working on it. And so I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Every project under that $135 million proposition, or 125, whatever it is, I assume there is movement on every one of those. Would I be incorrect in saying that, or correct?
You would be correct in saying that there's movement. I can't assure that there's movement on every list. There's 180 of those projects, and we have about 3 individuals, our architects in the district, working towards it. I can tell you that when you eat an elephant like $135 million worth of infrastructure improvement, you have to start with the big pieces first. And the big pieces are the creation of Escondido, the creation of Wortham Oaks, the Phase 2 of Veterans Memorial, and some of these bigger projects. And it takes so much time to put the paperwork together to prepare for that, that you really have to start early, and that's what they did. Now, simultaneously, what we did was we contracted maintenance to take care of shade structures and concrete platforms that they could prepare. So we've really done a yeoman's job in trying to get this done. I would tell you that some of the other ones, the smaller projects, we're starting to work towards now. But we had to get the modernization and improvements out there and all the other ones. Now, as we move forward, you're absolutely correct. If people are unsure of what's getting done, we need to be intentional about marketing that. And we had a bond oversight committee meeting just the other day, and one of the recommendations was that we go back to that video that we had before. So in the next board meeting, our plan was to put a video and show all of the things that we've completed from the 180 projects, and then show all the ones that we need to move forward with. But in terms of where we're at in completing this prior to the 5 years, I can tell you we're ahead of schedule.
I also just want to remind you, Dr. Fields, we talked about having the community meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
That we just had a bond oversight committee meeting, and at that time, this is exactly what we were talking about in regards to putting together a video, putting out some more information as to what is going on in our district. We specifically talked about having, certain certain community meetings so people can see what is still coming, and then also giving kind of a timeline as to when to expect, some action if they're not seeing it. But because we don't want people to feel that there's no action for their area.
Well, I do intend to meet with every HOA in my district, in District 4, in the month of September.
Yes, sir.
And so having information to relay to them about at least projects within District 4, where I reside, would be helpful. And then obviously, if you can let the campus leadership, the principals know to convey to parents then we're hitting it from all sides. But I just want to ensure that to our community that we are moving, and it is a big project. They may not understand that we have 5 years, and if that's the case, and if we put another bond in 2 years from now, and we haven't, they're going to think nothing's working, and we need community support naturally for future projects. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Just a quick comment, I was just asking Ms. Pashal, I thought we did it, but I know I've driven by campuses where it says, thank you to the community. It says your bond money's at work.
Yes, ma'am.
And it lists what's happening at the
Correct.
campus.
Correct.
I know I've seen wooden signs.
They're there.
Oh, they're not at our
there.
they're in our.
They're at the campuses that are being, if you were to go to Wortham Oaks right now,
It's
there's
there.
a big sign in Wortham Oaks.
I know
that
I've
says-
seen them, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that's just another way we can
You're.
showcase.
Dr. Ball hit the nail on the head. When we talked to Mr. Merrill, he said, even at Kirby, where you're getting ready to knock down the buildings, you need to have a meeting at Kirby to say, first, we're going to knock down building 400, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, and that'll make people feel a little bit more comfortable with knowing what's coming. So you're absolutely correct.
Ms. Pashal.
Thanks. I just wanted to, since Mr. Macias was talking about being transparent with the community, is it okay to duplicate what you have given us to give to the community so that they, or have this on a display so that they can see what project is going on at what school and what's been completed and how much is yet to be done? Can we do that?
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Eaton.
One of the things that we could, Mr. Macias hit on it, is the HOA meetings, but is to make sure that the community has a clarification of the items that are associated with our bond and the ones that are associated with the insurance money from all the hailstorms and tornadoes that went through our area, so that they can understand that the difference between the bond initiative money is a 5-year limitation, but that insurance money, we've already gone out and request extensions on that.
Correct.
Some was granted, some wasn't needed, but so that the community will be aware of which projects are associated with which money.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a tongue twister.
But you're
You-
absolutely
you
correct.
know what I'm talking about,
You
Mr.
are right.
Fields,
No,
Dr.
you're right,
Fields.
you're right, because, I mean, if we don't get that 2-year money out there,
Yes,
we could lose it.
lose it.
So that had to become the priority as well, while simultaneously taking care of the 135 million of infrastructure improvements.
Yes, sir.
as well.
Thank you,
Same
Dr.
three
Fields.
individuals, so, yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Fields.
Dr. Ball?
I also want everybody to know that we're going to put this on our senior staff agenda, so we can brainstorm ideas, because one of the things that comes to mind is, as we each are assigned one of the municipality meetings to attend, we can definitely share that information, share this list, and really publicize that. So we will definitely do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Pichelle?
And don't forget, we're on TV, they can see that too.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll move on to 6A2, State Accountability Ratings. Dr. Ball?
Yes, I think everybody has heard that accountability ratings came out this week. We do have Ms. Davis that's going to provide us some information. I'm very proud that we do not have any IR campuses, and we have campuses with several distinctions. Again, our goal is always to continue to improve, to continue to have more campuses with more distinctions, and of course, to raise our letter grade. And then Ms. Davis will share some very specifics about the accountability.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Ball. Tonight, we would like to share with you our district and campus accountability ratings and provide you a brief overview of the accountability system and how it is that our district and our campuses received their ratings. The district accountability ratings, as you know, are based largely on the performance of our students on a one-day standardized test. Our districts receive letter grade. As Dr. Ball just shared, we received a rating of a C, but next year, our campuses will also receive a letter grade. For this year, campuses either receive a MET standard or IR, and we're very happy to announce that our campuses received the highest rating possible of MET standard. For high school and the district rating, we also include something called the College, Career, and Military Readiness Indicators, which are all the indicators including students enlisting in the military, students indicating that they've earned an associate's degree, enlisting in dual credit courses, AP courses, IB courses. All of those are indicators of college, career, and military readiness. This is an infographic that would help summarize the accountability manual that is over 100 pages. So right here you see a brief introduction to what our 3 domains are. Last year, the accountability system was based on 4 indices, but this year there's a change and we've moved from 4 indices to 3 domains. In short, the state is recognizing the best of the student achievement or school progress domain, and that's worth 70% of the accountability rating. And then there's a closing the gaps domain, which is worth 30%, and that domain includes something new this year compared to last year, which includes some of our special ed former students as well as our ELL students who are now in 3rd and 4th year. So there's quite a bit of differences to our accountability system this year, but the closing the gaps helps ensure that our students in every special population are addressed and that their needs are met. Here you have a little bit more information of the 3 domains. Domain number 1 includes the performance of all of our students, and in essence, it is indicating how much do our students know based on the cutoff scores that the state has designated. So that is student achievement. And for school progress, or domain number 2, that is divided into 2 sections. As you saw in the earlier infographic, the school progress is either relative performance or student growth. So in layman's terms, relative performance is how much better are our students doing this year than last year. As you know, we expect all of our students to at least achieve 1 year's growth of academic improvement. And the student growth part of the school progress is how do our kids compare to their peers in the 40 comparable school districts. So, in essence, we have the school progress that can be divided into 2 sections, relative performance and student growth, and then the state takes the best of either one, and then we look at the best of school progress or student achievement, and the state allows us to earn the best one. And then you have, again, closing the gaps, domain 3, which ensures that our differentials among our racial and our ethnic groups, as well as our lower socioeconomic students and other factors are taken into consideration. The rating scales are very similar to our older accountability system where we have the A through F system, but remember that that's only for our districts this year. And then the campuses just receive a met standard or improvement required. Again, we're very happy to announce that our JISD campuses received a rating of MET standard, which is the highest possible rating that our campuses can receive. Last year, we did have one campus, an IR, and we're very proud to say that it's a formerly known IR campus. And of course, our district earned an accountability rating of a C, which is comparable to the districts in the San Antonio area that have our like needs. We also want to acknowledge that all campuses have an opportunity to earn distinction designations. The secondary campuses have an opportunity to earn distinction designations in 7 areas, and the elementary campuses have an opportunity to earn distinction designations in 6 areas. What the distinction designations are is when each campus is compared to 40 comparable campuses that the state designates. Those campuses have, in addition to many other factors, are in the top quartile, the top 25 percentile. So we would like to acknowledge our 10 elementary schools that earned a total of 21 distinctions. 2 middle schools have earned 2 total distinctions. We have 2 high schools that have earned a total of 9 distinctions, and district-wide, we have earned a total of 32 distinctions. Our JISD had 14 campuses receive 1 or more distinctions, which this table clearly identifies, and 2 campuses received an all-eligible distinction designation. Copperfield received a total of 4 distinctions. Coronado Village received 2. Crestview Elementary received 6. Elolf has received 1. James Masters has received 1 designation. Mary Lou Hartman, 1. Millers Point, 3 designations. Olympia, 1. Spring Meadows, 1. Woodlake, 1. And the middle school level, we have Judson Middle School and Woodlake Hills, each earning 1 distinction. And at the high school level, we have Judson Early College Academy earning all 7 distinctions possible, and Veterans Memorial High School has earned 2 designations. For the A through F ratings for our area San Antonio schools, Dr. Ball?
Yes, I asked Ms. Davis to put this information out there so we could share with the board that we are not satisfied with a C. That is certainly not the place that we want to be, and I clearly understand the board's expectations of myself and my team. So when we present this next year at this time, you will not be seeing a C. Our goal, of course, is an A, but it'll certainly be better than a C.
Absolutely. So if there are no questions, on behalf of the accountability team, our director, Nicole Tagana, and our accountability coordinator, Ms. Rebecca Deffenbach, we'd like to say thank you. Any questions? Of course.
Yeah, we can't see, so I'm just going to pretend. I'll start with Ms. Eaton.
You stated that next year, and I did read that when I was looking at this yesterday, that they're going to give the individual campuses a grade,
Yes, ma'am.
but
Well, this year, they just got met standard or improvement required.
Right.
The state did not assign a letter grade to the campuses this year.
But next year, they're going to assign a letter grade, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is
So
correct.
will we then tally that to come up with just a total grade for the district, or it'll just remain for each campus?
Yes, the district continues to earn a letter grade, and the campuses will also earn
Very
a letter grade.
interesting. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Pichelle.
I thought she was going to speak. So the question is then, Dr. Ball, Crestview has 6. Judson Early College has distinctions in every category. So my question would be, what are they doing that we need to do, that the other schools need to do?
That's a great question, and I think that's something that our team is going to look at and see. Sometimes the best staff developers lie within ourselves, and many times we go out to look for the best program or what could help us, but I believe that it's going to lie within our own district of seeing what it is that we can do to enhance and use some of those same strategies. Mhm. Exactly.
May I add to that question, Dr. Ball? This year, our August professional learning conferences it consisted of 3 days of district-level professional learning. And one thing that we did differently than last year is we included a professional learning leader collaborative, which is we seeked out our own teachers to provide professional learning for our teachers, because there's nothing better from a teacher to hear than a similar teacher understanding the needs and going through the same troubles that they are. And so that was very well received. You're welcome.
Ms. Rodriguez.
My question is, so, on slide, this one, sorry, the one with the table that shows the cut scores for the letter grade ratings, do we know what our domain score was? Or, like, do we know if we were closer to the 70 or closer to the 79?
Yes, we do, ma'am.
Okay.
Our domain score was a 72 overall.
72, okay. And then do we know what like, I won't ask you to list this off, but we also know the scores for the campuses, so we would know, like, where they would fall next year? If they had given letter grades to individual campuses, we would know that?
Yes, ma'am. There is
Okay.
a report that indicates all of that information.
When I sent it out to the campuses, I put in there in pencil what it would have been.
Okay.
If it would have been a letter grade.
That's what I saw in some of those schools.
Okay.
All right, but it was either Met Standard.
That's
well,
the
it'd be all
official.
Met Standard, or it would be IR. We had no IR.
Correct.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am. We have no IR campuses this year.
Right. But you will hear some of the campuses say, oh, I would have been a B, or I
Okay,
would have been
okay.
a.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Macias.
Yes, the Express News article, I know you get a lot of information in the media, was really specific about that C, and that Judson was at 72, but Harlandale ISD, San Antonio ISD, Southside ISD, all had higher scores. So I'm extremely sensitive and appreciative of Dr. Ball's commitment to improve, because I mean, I certainly think we all would want to see that sort of improvement. So with that being said, Ms. Pichelle had a good point, too, that we've discussed in terms of having things replicated that Crestview is already doing. The other part of that, though, would be, since our campuses are so unique and our district is so diverse, that still obtaining information from teachers in the classroom in terms of, remember, with that comprehensive study assessment, having the root cause determined why there are some barriers to effective learning. That also, I believe, can help, and I know that it's still incomplete at this moment, but certainly being able to get behind it and then looking at possible remedies and resources, it still could be coming. So it's just going to make us better. I guess my question to you both would be, I appreciate the confidence. We don't have to tell too much, but I just want to know why you think we'll do better next year.
One of the reasons, and you can also chime in, but one of the reasons is, as I attended the district staff development days, I was very pleased to hear from teachers in regards to how useful they found the material. I call them deep dives, but I think okay.
Curriculum dives, yes,
The
ma'am.
curriculum dives. And in regards to the teachers spent this enormous amount of time looking at the curriculum, developing their pacing guides. So when I spoke to the teachers, they sounded already better prepared than last year. They felt that they had more resources, so that would be one of the main reasons that I do believe we'll do better.
There wasn't anything affiliated with data. I'm going to use an example that HR had shared a couple of years ago, that the information wasn't submitted to TA correctly, and we had a 25% turnover rate. And I was told that it was just an error. There was no error as far as you guys would know, information being relayed to TEA regarding our district and performance.
The error was that the district did not input the number of students that had the intent to join the military. So that was an error on the district's part. But I don't believe that even if that information would have been put in there, that it would have gotten us to a B.
That is
Okay. So a little bit of an adjustment will be made next year for that as well.
Absolutely, sir. And I know that the district staff is already working on that. But if I may also add to how specific we are being, I think that for anything that we do within curriculum instruction and assessment, everything has got to be systematic and targeted. We need to target the students, and we have to have systems in place. And this year, we have already been in discussions about what specific systems are going to be in place to support our campuses and our instructional leadership that is different than what has been in the past. Of course, one of those things that I strongly believe in is the development of an in-house grassroots curriculum that is developed by our teachers and our CNI team together, but it all begins with data. So when we're developing the curriculum, we first take a look at what our trends show. When we look at our STAR and we look at our CBA scores, what do our trends identify? Where in each content area are our students still performing? That way, we can identify the specific instructional strategies that we can focus on to provide professional learning for our teachers and give them ideas on what it is that they can share with students to help strengthen the instruction in that area. And then, of course, we have formative assessments that will help progress monitor how we are doing. And within those formative assessments, if we see that something is not working, then is the time to act, not wait till the summative assessment until the end of the year. Those are just some of the many systems that Dr. Ball and the leadership staff have been discussing.
Well, just to add that I appreciate the innovation and obviously looking at our processes. We've been in the education as a district, that game for a long time. So naturally, we've learned a few things, and I do think we're a great district. And so I'd like to see that reflected.
Amen.
Thank you.
Ms. Davis, I've heard that there's this really great website. If you could give the board the website, please, where we could go and look at every campus, we can compare counties, we can dig deeper in data. 'Cause-
TexasSchools.org.
Thank you, it's, right, txschools.org.
Oh, yeah, TX, that's right. TXschools.org.
Schools.org.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
it's very, I've heard it's very user-friendly.
It is.
Yes,
ma'am,
I know it is.
Very user-friendly.
I just want everybody to know that we can, we can look at a lot of data if you want to spend your evenings and weekends doing that. Yes.
That's right. Are there any further questions?
Ms. Canoyer.
Thank you, Ms. Davis, for bringing this information to us. I want to first say congratulations to all our schools for their excellent performance. It takes, and even if you're not on the list of distinctions, it is so much work that I know all of our employees are doing. One of the things I think is going to tremendously help us is consistency. We haven't had consistency in the district for quite some time, and that is one reason that Crestview does so well. They've had consistency. They have had leaders who come up from within. The teachers stay there way past when I would have retired, but there is that consistency there. And so as we move forward, looking at making sure we have our instructional leaders at the campuses there for long enough to make a difference, for long enough to truly understand the learners at their campuses and put the programs in place that are going to help them succeed. And I think then we're going to see some true growth in our district overall. But thank you so much to all of you everybody out there in TV land that does so much work for our students.
Mr. Macias.
Yeah, I obviously know the audit that we'll see for HR next month, I believe, will be very helpful because, as Ms. Canoyer stated, it all comes together and all the pieces. And obviously, employee retention or teacher retention is critical in every campus. And that's why keeping the principals in their roles and so the PD part, I mean, it all comes together. And I think that's why I feel so confident. I posted recently my own enthusiasm for where we are, because I do believe that all the pieces are coming together and that we will be able to rock it here pretty soon. We're doing well, but we're going to even do better.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, we'll move on to item 6B, first reading of the following local policies. B1, BBD local. B2, CAA local. B3, CJA local. B4, DI local. And B5, FEE local. Any discussion? Okay, if there's no discussion, we'll move on to item 6C, first reading of FL local, local district update. Okay, if there's no discussion, 6D, update on board advisory committees. Does anyone have any updates? Ms. Pichelle.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make this very quick. I attended the meeting with the steering committee, bond, all the construction report, everything that Dr. Fields gave to us tonight. I attended that particular meeting. And also, just want to say, the convocation was just wonderful. And, and I also had the opportunity to attend the, I just lost my thought, I had a senior moment. Oh, yeah, that's it. The Bexar County School Board Coalition meeting. Mr. Macias and I went to Bexar County School Board Coalition meeting. I think we all got an email from them, so they were inviting us to be at downtown to be on the next, the Go Public piece that they're going to do with KSAT 12.
Yes, ma'am, we'll all be there, our senior staff, I know.
Okay, all right, very good. That's it.
Okay, anyone else? 6E, update on board training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda items. Ms. Eaton, do you have anything? Okay, Ms. Rodriguez?
I'll tag this and events. I missed the last board meeting because I spent 4 weeks in China while I was over the month of July. And I wanted to make the offer to teachers in the district if they wanted me to come speak to their classes. Obviously, I can't speak to every class, but if you wanted me to come, I would be able to do that. So we'll put that out in the public.
Thank you.
Ms. Pichelle?
No, ma'am, other than I'll be attending the TASB convention in September.
Okay. Mr. Macias?
Yeah, for the month of September, and I'll work on the language, but I will want an agenda item. Right, we're on agenda items for next month. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Agenda item pertaining to allocating operational dollars to summer programming. So I'll put that on and formalize that for next month.
Okay. Ms. Canoyer?
I'm planning to attend the Go Public Back to School event that it will be on next week, but we're in the middle of our Meet the Whoever's. Last night was Meet the Patriots at Veterans Memorial, and that was a great event and wonderful to see our girls' basketball team unveil the placards denoting their district championship and state semifinal championship. So great for them. And tomorrow night, I think, is Meet the Rockets, and next week is Meet the Thunderbirds. So I'll be attending those as well.
Thank you. Mr. LaFoille? Okay, we will move on to item 7A, closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, discussing personnel or to hear complaints against personnel. We'll be looking at personnel, the personnel report, and updates, including new hires, resignations, and administrative appointments. 7B, pursuant to Texas Government Code, Section 551.074, discussion regarding organizational chart and duties of district-level administration. 7C, pursuant to section 551.071, private consultation with the board's attorney, attorney consultation regarding legal issues related to EEOC charge 451-2017-02314, filed by Sharon Jansky. And the time is 8:14.